Hi there, my name is George and I teach mathematics in Dubai in a British curriculum school. And I'm going to show you 4 resources here which can be used by students at home to study IGCSE or GCSE mathematics. So I'm going to show you CorbettMaths, MathsGenie, where to find exam papers, and DrFrostMaths, which is a big resource. I'll come to that when I get to the 4th one, if you're still with me. Okay, so Corbett Mathematics to start off with. So this is a searchable site. So you really need to know what you're looking for here. So say, for example, let's do a control F and let's put in equation. And you can see that there are 20 different resources here which relate to equations. And so here you can see the first one which has popped up is equation of a circle. That's probably quite advanced. But if we have a look at that, we can see there's a video for this one. There's practice questions and there's a textbook exercise as well. For all of these, for the practice questions in particular, I'll go through some in a moment, but there's also answers. Every now and then you can see that there is a link. Let's just scroll down. For example, here it says click here for answers. So you can go to that and find answers if you then search again. So I'll show you that. So maybe you don't want the equation of a circle, but maybe you want to have a look down. So just keep clicking down. You probably just press enter. And if you keep clicking down, you can see here we've got some solving equations. So that would be fairly basic. Equations involving fractions getting a bit more complicated as you go further down the list in general. Okay, so there's tons of stuff on here. Maybe you're having a problem with fractions, and you can see there's some fractions, decimals, percentages stuff, decimals to fractions. Maybe I'm just interested in adding fractions. Let's have a look at that. Adding fractions with the same denominator. Maybe I'm having problems with adding fractions with different denominators, in which case I've now found what I need, and then I can either go to the video. So let's have a quick look at the video. And you can see I can watch this on YouTube, or I can just play it here. And so that will go through multiple examples, and you can always stop them up as you go. So let's just go through. Got an Irish guy there talking about this one. And you can see, you can just click it forwards until you get to maybe the next question. And when you get to the next question, you can always stop it up and try it before then having a look at the solution, or you can just look at the solution straight away. Now, if we go back to those questions, so we have a look at adding different denominators. If we have a look at, say, the practice questions, here are generally exam-style practice questions. These can be printed. So you can see you've got like a booklet here. Now, these are all pretty straightforward, a mixture of questions, some in context as well. But they're kind of like an exam booklet that you could print out. And then in order to mark them, you can either click here for answers. There we go. So you can see the fully worked solutions there. There's no videos to help you with this apart from the original sort of instructions video. So it won't talk you through every particular question, but you can see you have worked solutions here. Let's look at something. Yeah, so, here's the kind of working out that you would need to show in this case. Okay, but if you had downloaded that already and then you're looking for the answers to that, you can always go to click here for answers, and you can also just do a control find on fractions there. So what were we doing? We were looking at adding fractions. So let's see if we can. Well, you have to be quite specific on what you look for. So let's say add. No. So okay. So let's go fractions again, and you're going to have to just go through and click through them. But these are the answers. You can go to practice questions, answers to these ones here. That's another way of getting there. Okay, they also have on here, let's look at something else. Let's just look at something random. Let's look at factorization of quadratics. They also have on textbook exercise here as well. So let's have a little look at this one. And so there are tons of practice questions here which you can have a go at. So much more than just the 15 odd questions which were given in the exam style practice. And there's some really nice apply style questions here as well. So ones in context or just asked a bit differently. And of course, you can go to the answers on here as well. So click here for answers and it will lead you through. Okay, so this is an amazing resource, but the problem with this resource is that it's not leveled. So you have to know what you're looking for. So it doesn't necessarily start with the easiest and end with the hardest thing here. So you need to know what is it you want practice with. And you can see obviously that mathematics is massively broad for IGCSE or GCSE. There are tons and tons of different types of questions which you can practice. Anyway, there you go. So it's a brilliant resource, but you need to know what you're looking for, and it doesn't give you things per level. Okay, so let's have a look at something which is a smaller resource, but which is leveled. Okay, so I like this one. This is MathsGenie, and it says GCSE, but again, it's good for IGCSE as well, and it goes from grade 1, obviously, up to grade 9, so the grade 8 and 9 at the end there. And similarly, you can see, so if a student is starting out at IGCSE, maybe they've done quite a lot of practice before in mathematics, you might be looking at coming in at somewhere like grade 4. So let's have a look at something here like forming and solving equations. Again, similarly, you've got videos here. You've got exam questions. So similar thing. Exam questions, have a look at these. No, I don't want this. Let's close that one off. And this is really nice. Some of these questions here are really good questions. You don't have to print out too much. Excellent stuff. And of course, this has also got, let's have a little look at that one again. So we're down here. And so you've got an exam questions booklet. What's in that one? Oh, so that's just giving you space to write the answers, but it's the same thing, basically. It's the same questions, just with space. But you also have the solutions here as well. So you can check your worked solutions in this case too. Again, there's no specific video per question, but you've got the worked solutions you can work through there as well. And you've got the video which you can stop up and you can watch. So, it's also on YouTube. 20 minutes long. It's brilliant. Okay, so I like this because it's not as big a resource, but you can really focus on working through your grade and getting a mixture of practice. So if you wanted to do some work over the summer, for example, you can say, okay, I'm going to do all of grade 4 and I'm going to do all of grade 5. I'm going to print out the booklets and mark them through. And if I need any help at any point, I'll look at the video. So really good resource. Okay, once you've gone through and got a lot of practice, or if you're in your last year of GCSE and you're looking to do exam revision, a great thing to do is exam practice. So you can find loads of exam past papers on Physics&MathsTutor.com. There's lots more on this website, but this is what I use this website for. And so I've put a link on my my WordPress page directly to this. But you can see it's pretty easy to navigate. Past papers, GCSE Mathematics. And then there are tons of exam papers here. I've known students before who try and do one past paper a night and then mark it through the same night and then do another one the next night. And they get really good at exam technique in a fairly short period of time. So these are fantastic to work through. You obviously need to know your curriculum. So, for example, we use in my school, in GEMS Wellington International School in Dubai, we use Edexcel, and we use IGCSE, and there's IGCSE A and B. I'm not quite sure what B is, but we use A. And if you have a look in this one, you've got paper 1 and paper 2. So let's have a look at paper 1. So if we look at paper 1 here, you can see you have foundation past papers and you have higher past papers. So if you're doing higher ones, these start in January 2012. You've got a question paper there and you've got the mark scheme there as well. And sometimes you've got model answers as well. Although mostly you can search for pretty much anything you want on YouTube if you put in the question and the question paper and the year, So, but yeah, if we have a look at these, let's look at, say, January 2012. Depends what you're heading for as a grade. If you want grade 9, if you know you're heading for grade 9, you probably want to just focus on the second half of the paper, maybe even just the last, say, 8 questions. If you're trying to consolidate a level 5, a grade 5, then you probably want to focus on the first half of your paper. It should be noted that these are old specification papers here. There are fewer of the newer specification papers, but there's not a huge difference between them. I think, for example, sequences is missing out from this, but you can ask your mathematics teacher if there's anything which is missing in particular, which they need to focus on, which students need to focus on. Okay, so these are brilliant. There's a lot to print out. You could obviously do it on your iPad if you just download it and write over the PDF. Okay, it just does what it says on the tin, really. I would suggest that you've got a formula sheet at the front there as well. So not all formulas are given, but some are. And I would suggest that if it's a 2-hour paper, that you try and do it in 2 hours if you're going to attempt the whole thing, and then mark it through. If we have a look at the marking, you can go to this one. We've got January 2012 mark scheme here. This is obviously still paper 1. Paper 2 is just a different mixture of questions. There's not any particular topics which turn up on paper 1 or paper 2. By the way, this is called 3H paper 2, and so paper 1 is called 3H, whereas if it was foundation, it would be called 1F. So don't be confused by the 3 there. Okay, so you can see the mark scheme. Mark schemes are not model answers. They are bits of answers which examiners need to see in order to award marks. And it may be that the examiner can award full marks straight away with the final answer, or it may be that examiners need to see certain bits of working out. In general, if you get the answer right and it doesn't say show you're working out, then you'll get full marks with the answer correct at the end. Okay, but yeah, there's bits of working out there which examiners would be looking for. Okay, and you can see that the final answer is like given here or here, and you can see the marks which were awarded for each of those things. You can see M1 is method mark and A1. So again, to read this properly, you really need to be an examiner because examiners will be trained on how to mark each question. But yeah, generally M1 will be a method mark, A1 will be an accuracy mark or an accuracy mark for getting the 33, for example. Probably correct to three significant figures. It may say that at the front of the paper. Okay, little things like OE stands for or equivalent. So maybe you've got a different calculation which gives you the same answer. Or maybe you've written something as a decimal instead of a fraction. Okay, it says here, like, for example, in this case, your A1 mark is dependent on M3. So you're going to need to get your method marks right before you get that accuracy mark right. Okay, listen, I can go on forever with these things, but you can see this is a massive and great resource. You can see some of these have R in them. So that just means it's a different regional paper. So, for example, for IGCSE, there's 2 sections of the world in terms of sitting the exam on that day. And so there's 2 different papers which are written for that day. So it's just similar content. And there's no specific content on either the first or the second paper. It's just mixture of content stuff. Okay, so that's a great and massive resource. Okay, then final resource I want to talk about is DrFrostMaths. So if that's not enough in terms of revision resources, this is another massive resource, but it's a little bit more what teachers will be providing for lessons. So teachers get resources from a variety of places, including like the edXL book, for example. And we use loads more resources like Maths Watch for setting homework, or My iMaths, or Sparks. There's tons of different resources, but this is a great place for finding finding explanation PowerPoints, but also masses of questions as well. So, for example, I was just looking earlier. So you can see mathematics is separated into 4 sections: algebra, data handling and probability, number, and shape, space, and measures. Yeah, those are the key areas. I know our books also have things like might have statistics or probability or Venn diagrams or graphs separated out into different sections. But normally there's 4 sections: algebra, data handling and probability, number, and shape and space and measures. Okay, so there's obviously a revision category here as well. And there's obviously also computer science, which is just randomly popped up in this one. You don't need to worry about that. So where I'm at the moment, I'm on Dr. Frost Mathematics, and I've just gone to Resource Explorer. You can make an account really simply here as a student. You go to login and log in with Google. Really simple. You can't get a teacher account unless you contact the administrator. So if you have a look on here, if we have a look at algebra, for example, and I was just looking at functions, I'm just picking randomly on something here. You can see that you can download the presentation on this. So it's a massive presentation. There's another presentation here. This one, FM, stands for the Further Mathematics course, which IGCSE do. So that's like a bridging course between IGCSE and A-level or IB. So we don't necessarily want that. This one says FM as well. Oh, okay, because this is GCSE or IGCSE Further Maths. Okay, but it's probably quite good for IGCSE as well. Now, this is a little bit more technical because teachers are looking for this and trying to choose the right resources, but it's still brilliant. If you know you're struggling with, say, functions, as a lot of students might, then you can click on this. Let's have a quick look. And you can go to the slides, and we can open that in a second. We can have a look at the document there as well. And let's just open this. And let's just open the document as well. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so let's go to the PowerPoint. And you can see, let's go to the PowerPoint. And you can see you've got masses and masses of explanations here and good little exercises, which you'd normally do in class. And you can reveal the answers to those. And then you can have a go at the exercises. When you go, it's all a little bit different here. Here you can find, as you go through those resources, sometimes they're arranged slightly differently. In this case, the document that you can download as well gives you the exercises as well, which relate to the PowerPoint where you can find the answers. It probably has the answers on this too. So there's tons of functions questions, including loads of exam questions. So there's no answers on this one, but you can find the answers when you go down to the exercises, like exercise 1 there. You can reveal the answers as you go through the PowerPoint at the same time. So brilliant resource, but it's a massive resource, this. Let's just get out of that one. So let's just show you, let's just go back a second. So you can find things like full coverage. This relates to IGCSE Further Maths, and you can find that there's a full compilation of questions relating to exam questions there, essentially. You can see, let's look at something different, because sometimes Dr. Frost delivers things slightly differently. So if we look at factorizing, for example, this one is all-in-one worksheets. So he calls things slightly different things on occasions. So let's have a little look at this. And we can see, look, here's, so there's a little explanation, some core questions, some answers there. You can see there's some hidden answers. Okay, so, a massive resource, probably a bit more for a teacher would really need to know this would be good to look at, or this would be good. And I would pick this for a lesson knowing my students. But it's still a brilliant resource, and you can definitely, let's go to, say, revision. Let's go revision all topics. And you can search, I believe, as well here for revision. I don't normally do this. I normally set up through the teacher account. I normally create tests on this as well. But yeah, you can downloadable resources. So here you can see, look, plenty of stuff. Look, GCSE questions compilations. To be honest, I wouldn't use this for that, though. I would use the past papers themselves. Okay, so plenty of stuff there. You can see, just you can look through the topics. Maybe you're struggling with indices. Okay, right. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm boring myself a little bit here, and I need to help feed my son, a little baby, in a moment as well. So, okay, so I'm going to stop it there. Again, if you have any questions, contact me via DrFrostMathsTeacher@gmail.com. Yeah, there you go. Hope that helps. Thanks.